You're meant to have a 6-month period of testing before you can compete again, right?
Yeah.
But I remember seeing online, McGregor hasn't re-entered, and there were certain stipulations that said, under extraordinary circumstances, we can shorten that period.
Yep.
They used it before for a fighter. I just don't know which one.
Yep.
And it's Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar didn't do 6 months?
And I think they do 2 tests or something like that. That's what Conor was saying publicly, and then USADA was like, nah, you're doing the whole 6 months or whatever, and then that's when he went on a rant. I think on Twitter he just went off on USADA.
Yeah. And that is right. Just to see if I can tie that in. So there's a few different policies. So each guy can fall into one of basically 3 categories. Well, who decides? Who decides which one? USADA came out, and it sounded as though they had decided. The one that they have decided is that Conor, with his situation of retirement, goes into the 6th month. And Conor came out and said, no, there's other ways to do this, and I fall into the criteria where they need 2 tests. They can go get those in the same week. And so there is a debate. I mean, let me just give you a situation before you go, well, that doesn't sound right. Just give you a situation. All the guys that are in the UFC, okay, great, they're getting tested. We all understand it. Well, let's say it's a short notice fight. They're in San Antonio tonight, just by example. Let's say 2 days ago a fight pulled out, so they grab a local guy from San Antonio. It's his life dream. He gets to get it. He gets to fill in. He didn't get 6 months. For obvious reasons, he couldn't do 6 months. So that's where that extraordinary circumstance would come in. If they were going to lose a main event, they had to bring a guy in. And something along those lines is what it was intended for. But that's not what it actually says. And so I do think that Conor makes a fair point. Yeah. And I don't think that he has to do the 6 months just because USADA says it. I think it's going to be a good fight here. Yeah, and I think there's going to be some drama that, if you're into this kind of thing, you settle in because this is a doer.
Yeah.
Is there any word on when that fight's going to take place?
No, but see, that's the mess. So you've got the 6-month clock with USADA, according to USADA, who greatly cares about their image, and they've already said this one, right? If they were quiet, it'd be different. They've already said it, but that's relevant because Conor's got boots on the ground right now in Vegas. And each one of these state commissions are allowed to test you. It's not because USADA's involved. They now don't do it. It's a meaningful function. And I haven't heard of very many state tests anymore. They kind of just stand back and let USADA do it. But he's boots on the ground. He's booked a place at Big Bear, so he claims, to start his training camp. Which would mean if you're going to training camp, Conor traditionally has done 8 to 10 week training camps. Which would mean this fight is coming right up if he's going out to Big Bear next week. It was just these really big clues towards this battle between Conor and Chandler. So you got the Ultimate Fighter, you got all these announcements, you got all of this hype that's being built. They don't have a venue yet, allegedly. They don't have a date yet, allegedly. They don't have an on sale for tickets. It's weird, man. The whole thing is weird, and it does, as you start to look at the clues, it does start to lend towards Conor knows more about how this is going to go than USADA knows.
Yeah. They asked Michael Chandler, what weight is this going to be? And he's like, dude, I have no idea. And then they asked Conor the next day. He's like, 170. Yeah. Yep. So I think, you're right. I think he absolutely knows more about what's happening with this fight than anybody else.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because that's a meaningful thing for me as well. What weight are they fighting at? It does matter because they're not fighting for anything. They're not fighting for a contendership. They're not fighting for a belt. They're just fighting for money, which is just fine. It's just that's hard to do. That doesn't generally get done. So it does matter that you at least pick a weight class where the rankings or something could be affected. So when they picked 170 for 255 pounders, it was weird. And then Dana came out and corrected that and said it's at 55. And Conor's like, no, it's not. And Chandler said, I don't know. And so, there's 3 people that have that answer, but they've all got a different answer. And so for us, the audience, man, it's peculiar. Yeah. I could certainly say that with confidence. It's peculiar.
Chandler's answer is probably like, whatever Conor says, as long as I'm getting paid.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he said. He's like, hey, whatever he wants to do, I'm just here to fight this guy.
It's hard to tell how big he is because I remember Wonderboy was talking about in photos how he will edge towards the camera and do some editing. So it's like, I really wonder how big Conor is right now. Because he looks insanely jacked.
Yeah, he's massive, man.
Oh, he looks, it looks big and strong. I thought he looked bloated more than he looked ripped, but...